Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles. Dad, my stepfather's friends are here. They're forcing me to serve them drinks in my underwear. Mom just stands there laughing. They say once you die overseas, I'll be theirs to train. The moment I saw this video, my world collapsed. But I also finally understood a cruel truth everyone ignores. Society's greatest evil isn't the obvious villains. It's the hidden demons wearing normal people masks. You think family is the safest place? Wrong. Statistics show 80% of child abuse happens within families or familiar circles. Those respectable uncles are often more dangerous than street thugs. You think maternal love is unconditional? Dead wrong. When interests clash with children, many mothers choose interests without hesitation. They call it family stability. Really, it's for their own parasitic lifestyle. This is humanity's darkest truth. Evil thrives not because villains are powerful, but because good people choose silence and loved ones choose betrayal. I'm Marcus Blackwood, 40 years old, corporate security consultant. Simply put, I help bosses catch thieves and find moles. 16 years in this career showed me countless scumbags, but I never imagined the worst ones lurked around my daughter. In the video, 14-year-old Sophia wore thin pajamas, hands trembling with a wine bottle. For middle-aged men sat on the sofa, their gazes sickeningly vile. Leading them was David Sterling, my ex-wife's new husband, a beast who appears successful but is actually greedy. Little girl, better if your daddy dies out there. Then we can properly care for you. Disgusting laughter echoed from the video. Worse was my ex-wife Rachel's voice. Sophia, hurry and pour drinks. Don't keep the uncles waiting. You know what's hidden behind this? This isn't coincidental. It's a carefully designed power trap. David Sterling's group operates on simple logic. Economic control grants family authority. Authority grants control over the weak. Control ultimately satisfies their bestial desires. This perfectly demonstrates micro-power structures. And Rachel? She knows her daughter faces threats. She's making a cruel calculation. Her daughter's pain versus her own comfortable life. Obviously, she chose the latter. This is society's most terrifying aspect. Superficially, we condemn villains. Actually, our systems and culture protect them. Why are these scumbags so brazen? They know most victim families choose to keep quiet. They know society questions victims, not abusers. They know legal procedures are complex and exhausting, so they're fearless and blatant. They treat crime like a low-risk, high-reward game. I was in a Brussels conference room, an $800,000 contract before me. Those Europeans were still discussing security details. I tore up the contract immediately. I don't want the contract. Everyone was stunned. $800,000, my biggest deal in 3 years. So what? At this moment, I finally understood. Real wealth isn't bank numbers. It's the ability to protect those you love. Real success isn't career glory. It's the power to make villains pay for their crimes. These bastards think I'm thousands of miles away? Think they can casually bully my precious daughter? They don't know what it means to enrage a father. They certainly don't know. True beasts never need to roar. I immediately called Kay, retired investigative journalist. Now specializes in digging up dirt on the powerful. Second call went to Fox, or top hacker. Specializes in cracking supposedly secure systems. Years of security consulting taught me one principle. This world has no absolute good or evil. Only strong and weak, hunters and prey. If you don't want to be prey, become a more cunning, vicious hunter. Within 15 minutes, I booked my flight home. On the plane, I received initial intelligence. After reading it, I almost laughed. These self-proclaimed clever scumbags perfectly demonstrate too clever for their own good. David Sterling, financial advisor actually running a Ponzi scheme, defrauded 50 clients of $3 million. Michael Liu, real estate agent serial harasser, secretly films female clients for profit. Robert Chun, small factory owner, illegally dumps waste, poisons villagers, owes workers wages. Professor James Zhou, community college vice professor, uses position to sexually assault female students long-term. See that? Not four independent criminals. A complete criminal ecosystem. Each commits evil in their field, then gathers around David Sterling. They form a mutually protective interest group. This is typical small circle corruption. Worse, such circles exist everywhere in society. They wear successful personas while hiding bestial natures. They think they're well hidden. To this professional security consultant, these flaws practically beg for exposure. I finally understand modern society's game rules. It's not whose fist is hardest wins. It's who has more information, broader resources, ruthless methods. They become the ultimate victor. Villains are arrogant not because they're powerful, but because good people are too kind, too trusting that justice will eventually come. But starting today, they're not facing a kind person. They face a thoroughly enraged father, one who's mastered the game rules, determined to defeat them using their own methods. 16 years of security experience, nationwide intelligence networks, a belly full of rage. These are my weapons. I'll make these bastards understand one principle. In this dog-eat-dog world, touch my daughter and you die. When the plane landed, I'd already formulated my revenge plan. Step 1. Rescue my daughter, ensure her safety. Step 2. Start with weakest Robert Chun. Systematically destroy this criminal circle. Step 3. Let them pay for their evil in despair. Step 4. Ensure they never dare touch my daughter again. This isn't just revenge. It's precision surgery on evil forces. This isn't just a father's anger. It's a powerful counterattack against this sick society. They think I'm just a tool making money overseas? Wrong. Completely wrong. I'm a father. A thoroughly enraged father. More importantly, I'm a hunter who finally sees this world's truth. This war, I won't just win. I'll make everyone see clearly. In this cold world, only the strong can protect their loved ones. 13 hours of flight. I never closed my eyes. My mind filled with my daughter's plea video, but more with angry thoughts about this sick society. I suddenly understood a truth everyone ignores. David Sterling's group didn't gather accidentally. They represent society's darkest power logic. Landing at the capital airport, I headed straight to my daughter's school. On the way, Kay sent shocking investigation results. This isn't just four scumbags' criminal records. It's the perfect display of Chinese middle class's hypocritical masks. David Sterling, this superficially glamorous financial expert, is actually a complete modern con artist. His scam isn't traditional street fraud. He exploits the middle class's greatest weaknesses: greed and vanity. Know why he could steal $3 million? Because he precisely exploited modern anxiety. Soaring housing prices, inflation pressure, retirement panic. Every middle-class family desperately seeks passive income opportunities. David Sterling painted them a perfect picture. 35% annual returns, guaranteed principal and interest. These victims aren't fools. They're smart people blinded by greed. They know this return rate is abnormal, but they choose to believe because they desperately want unearned wealth. Michael Liu represents modern service industry's dark side even more. He's not just a simple pervert. He's a beneficiary of systematic exploitation. You think he's just a bad agent? Wrong. He represents the entire service industry's structural discrimination and sexual exploitation of women. Why does he dare harass female clients so brazenly? He knows in high-pressure real estate transactions, female clients often endure silently to buy homes. Why can he secretly film so many private videos? Because he controls the private scenario of house viewings absolutely. Clients must follow him into enclosed spaces, must follow his arrangements. This is the inevitable result of power imbalance. When someone controls resources you desperately need, they gain the privilege to do evil. Robert Chen's factory wage theft and illegal dumping seem like personal moral issues. Actually, they expose Chinese manufacturing's structural dilemma. Why does he dare withhold workers' wages? He knows these migrant workers have no voice, nowhere to complain. Why does he dare dump illegally? He knows regulatory departments are understaffed, inspection probability extremely low. Why has he persisted 3 years? Local governments need GDP and jobs. Often turn a blind eye. This isn't just Robert Chen's evil. It's evil from the entire economic development model. When we prioritize GDP over environmental protection. When we place capital interests above workers' rights. Robert Chen types are inevitable products. Most disgusting is Professor James Zhou. This hypocrite, Surface University vice professor, secretly harasses female students long-term. This exposes Chinese academia's darkest unwritten rules. You think this is just personal morality? Dead wrong. It's the inevitable product of power structures. Why does he dare harass female students long-term? He controls students' grades, graduation, recommendations, key powers. Students endure for their futures. Why does the school know but not act? They care more about reputation than student rights. Why is this so common in universities? The entire education system lacks effective supervision and restraint mechanisms. See? These 4 scumbags didn't gather accidentally. They're products of the same thinking pattern. Exploit power imbalances. Exploit vulnerable groups. Satisfy personal desires. Worse, our social systems and cultural environment provide perfect soil for this exploitation. Damn! When I connected this information, a larger truth emerged. David Sterling isn't just toying with my daughter. They're building a micro-power kingdom. David Sterling uses money to control Rachel. Rachel uses maternal love to manipulate Sophia. For scumbags use successful person identities for mutual protection. This is a perfect exploitation chain. Every link has abusers and victims. Every link has beneficiaries and sacrifices. Most terrifying, the exploited often become next-link exploiters. Rachel is controlled by David Sterling, then controls her daughter. This is the vicious cycle's horror. At the school gate, I texted my daughter. 20 minutes later, frail Sophia appeared in the coffee shop. Seeing my daughter's haggard appearance, my heart bled. But I also grew angrier. Knowing this isn't coincidental. This is society's sickness in microcosm. Dad, you really came back. She threw herself into my arms, tears flowing endlessly. Tell Dad what those bastards did to you. My daughter's halting narrative revealed the complete chain of power exploitation. David Sterling first used economic means to control Rachel, making her dependent. Then exploited his stepfather identity to gradually test control boundaries over Sophia. This isn't impulsive crime. It's premeditated power expansion. 3 months ago, David Sterling started bringing friends home for gatherings. This seems like normal socializing. Actually building accomplice relationships. Making a 14-year-old daughter serve them drinks. Calling it girls should be sensible. This establishes obedience relationships. Making her dress thinly. Saying relax at home. This breaks down psychological shame barriers. Having her sit beside them chatting. Taking opportunities to touch. This tests resistance levels. Every step is carefully designed. They're not simple perverts. They're systematic, methodical predators. Most disgusting. When drunk, they directly said, "When your dad dies overseas, you'll be our toy." This sentence exposes their ultimate logic. Treating females as tradable commodities. Treating absent fathers as crime opportunities. And my ex-wife Rachel not only doesn't protect her daughter, but smiles alongside. Mom said I should endure, that Uncle David gives us a good life, we can't offend them. My daughter cried. She said if I don't obey, we'll suffer hardship. Hearing this, I completely understood Rachel's logic. She's using her daughter as a bargaining chip to maintain her living standard. This woman would push her daughter to wolves for her comfortable life. She's not unaware of danger. She's making cold-blooded calculations. My fists clenched audibly. This isn't just moral corruption. It's the extreme manifestation of modern society's materialistic values. When everything can be measured by money, children's safety becomes a tradable commodity. When women are taught to depend on men for security, They'll sacrifice everything to maintain that dependence, including their own children. Sophia, remember the emergency kit Dad gave you? Take it out tonight if you get a chance. If there's danger, immediately escape using our practiced methods. At this moment, I finally understood why we must teach children self-protection. Not because the outside world is too dangerous, but because those closest often can't be trusted. I pulled out a bank card. Here's $50,000. Password is your birthday. Remember, real security never comes from others' charity. It comes from your own strength. What will you do? Dad will show these bastards this world's game rules. My eyes turned icy cold. They think bullying my daughter has no consequences? They don't understand modern society's true power dynamics. That night, in a small hotel, I deeply contemplated this entire incident's essence. This isn't simple personal vendetta. It's the ultimate confrontation of two value systems. One is survival of the fittest, using power to exploit the weak. One is protecting the weak with strength, using power to defend justice. These scumbags represent society's darkest side. I'll represent the forces of light, delivering them a fatal blow. I'll make everyone see clearly, in this complex world, true strength isn't bullying the weak. It's daring to declare war on evil. Fox's technical intelligence made me even more excited. Robert Chen's factory illegal dumping records, completely preserved on servers. Michael Liu's online harassment evidence, dozens of instances. Professor Zhou's student harassment chat records, plus academic fraud evidence. David Sterling's complete illegal fundraising chain. False advertising, client investments, fund destinations, nothing missing. I smiled. These self-proclaimed clever scumbags perfectly demonstrate one principle. The tech era's greatest risk isn't being surpassed by others. It's being betrayed by your own stupidity. They think deleting chat records eliminates evidence? They don't know the digital age's first law. The internet remembers forever. They think money and status escape sanctions? They don't know the information age's core weapon. Data is more powerful than authority. I've decided the attack order. First strike at weakest Robert Chen. Let other scumbags know fear. Then Michael Liu, Professor Zhou, one by one. Finally David Sterling, the mastermind. I'll make him pay for his evil in despair. But first, I must ensure my daughter's safety. Because I understand modern warfare's first law. Protecting your own is more important than destroying enemies. I message Kay. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Rescue is planned. These bastards' doomsday approaches. More importantly, through this war I'll prove one truth to everyone. Evil may temporarily succeed, but justice's counterattack will shatter it completely. The next afternoon, the plan executed perfectly. Sophia took advantage of Rachel being out to escape as I instructed. Kay picked her up at the designated location, settling her in a suburban safe house. Seeing my daughter safe and sound, the stone in my heart finally fell. But simultaneously, a deeper realization formed in my mind. This rescue isn't just protecting a child. It's a direct challenge to modern society's power logic. Dad, are you really going after them? Sophia was somewhat worried. What if they retaliate against us? I stroked my daughter's head, my gaze firm as iron. Retaliate? What right do they have to retaliate? Now, Dad will teach you what real power games are. I want my daughter to understand a cruel truth. This world never runs on morality and law, but on strength and information. I had Sophia recall these past months in detail. Every detail, every disgusting word, every filthy touch. I recorded everything. But my focus wasn't the criminal acts themselves. It was the power operation logic behind these acts. The more detailed my daughter's narration, the deeper my understanding of modern society became. David Sterling, this beast, executed a complete power domestication program from the start. Step 1. Economic bondage. By providing Rachel a luxurious life, creating psychological dependence. Step 2. Identity reconstruction. using stepfather status to gain legitimate authority over Sophia. Step 3. Boundary testing. Through small favors and caring behaviors, testing resistance strength. Step 4. Gradual escalation. From verbal teasing to physical contact, breaking boundaries bit by bit. Step 5. Accomplice network. Introducing friend circles, sharing risks, enhancing control. This isn't spontaneous crime. It's systematic, methodical power expansion. More terrifying, their every step has social cultural support. Girls should be sensible, using gender stereotypes to suppress resistance. Casual at home, exploiting private spaces, extralegal privileges. Uncles have connections, using success ideology to shape authority. For family harmony, using traditional family values to bind victims. See, they're not committing crimes. They're exploiting society's entire value system loopholes. And my ex-wife Rachel's cooperation exposes modern women's tragic dilemma even more. She's not unaware her daughter is being harmed. She's making cruel survival calculations. Leaving David Sterling means declining living standards, degraded social status. Facing single mother discrimination and difficulties again. Maintaining status quo, though daughter suffers, at least maintains superficial respectable life. In this society defining success by economic strength, she chose sacrificing her daughter for her own security. This is modern society's darkest truth. When survival pressure is large enough, humanity's ugliest side becomes fully exposed. After hearing this, I almost lost control and rushed out to kill these bastards. But I know violence doesn't solve fundamental problems. I'll use harsher methods, letting them taste pain in despair. More importantly, through this war I'll demonstrate one principle to everyone. In this dog-eat-dog world, true strength isn't having power. It's daring to challenge power. After leaving the safe house, I drove directly to Robert Chen's factory. This field research showed me deeper problems in Chinese manufacturing. This shabby factory sits in the suburbs, small scale, terrible environment. I walked around the factory seeing not just illegal dumping, but the entire production model's distortion. The discharge outlet behind the factory connects directly to a small river. Black wastewater gushes out. But this isn't Robert Chen's decision alone. It's the inevitable result of entire economic logic. Why does he dare dump illegally? Because proper sewage treatment equipment needs $500,000 investment. His total liquid capital is only $300,000. Why won't banks lend to him? Because he lacks sufficient collateral. Banks think risk too high. Why doesn't government strictly enforce? Because closing factories affects employment rates and officials' performance evaluations. So Robert Chen chose to take risks, chose to transfer costs to environment and downstream villagers. This is market economy's dark side. When institutional design has loopholes, individual rational choices often lead to collective disaster. More terrifying, I discovered several villages downstream of this river. Villagers' drinking water comes from this river. This isn't simple illegal dumping. It's systematic harm to society's entire bottom layer. Robert Chen and his factory represent the epitome of China's pollute first, clean later development model. I took out equipment photographing extensive evidence. But I focused not just on legal violations, more on the social causes behind this behavior. I'll make Robert Chen understand. He's not just an environmental criminal. He's both victim and perpetrator of the entire unfair system. Then I drove to Robert Chen's residential complex. Through friend connections, I got his family's detailed information. This bastard has an 18-year-old daughter in senior year of high school. Looking at this child's photo, I suddenly understood a deeper principle. Evil's cycle is often more complex than we imagine. Robert Chen exploits workers at the factory, poisons the environment. But at home, he's also a father worried about his daughter's future. This identity split is precisely modern society's typical characteristic. We're all both perpetrators and victims. At 7 p.m., Robert Chen came home from work. I waited in the garage. Seeing this middle-aged man's tired appearance, I suddenly understood modern society's cruelty. Most people are forced to make choices against conscience for survival. But understanding doesn't equal forgiveness. Explanation doesn't equal exoneration. Boss Chen, let's talk? Seeing me, Robert Chen's face went white. This guy certainly knows who I am and why I returned. You? How are you back home? His voice trembled. My daughter had some trouble. Of course I had to return to handle it. I smiled coldly. Heard you had fun at David Sterling's house yesterday? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't know? I pulled out my phone, playing video of his daughter going to school. You know your daughter passes 3 intersections daily going to school? Encounters 7 traffic lights. These places all have surveillance cameras. Robert Chun instantly raged. You dare touch my daughter? Now you know how I feel? I put away my phone. Of course, I won't harm innocent children. I'm not a beast like you. But I pulled out a stack of documents. Your factory illegally dumped for 3 years. 5 downstream villages drinking water contaminated. You owe 48 workers wages totaling $480,000. Your personal debt is $2.6 million. Bankruptcy possible anytime. More importantly, my voice became colder. Your daughter's about to take college entrance exams. If she knows Dad is an environmental criminal, a wage withholding boss, think she can still take exams normally? Robert Chin completely collapsed. At this moment, I made him experience modern society's cruelest reality. When your crimes are exposed, those hurt often aren't just yourself, but also those you love most. What do you want? Very simple, I said coldly. First, immediately cut all ties with David Sterling. Never appear before my daughter again. Second, voluntarily surrender to environmental departments. Accept punishment, compensate victim villagers. Third, immediately pay owed wages. What if I refuse? Then wait to see consequences of your daughter's college applications being exposed online. My voice was cold as frost. Think when everyone knows she's the poison water factory owner's daughter. Which university would admit her? Also, think when your creditors learn of your bankruptcy. How will they treat your family? This is modern society's game rules. Information is weaponry, exposure is sanction. Robert Chen's psychological defense completely crumbled. He knew I wasn't bluffing. I had that capability. In the information age, a person's reputation can be destroyed instantly. And for his daughter facing college entrance exams, reputation destruction equals future destruction. I agree to your terms, Robert Chun said dejectedly. But please don't involve my daughter. That depends on your performance. I stood to leave, adding one final blow. Oh, right. I recorded our entire conversation. If you think of playing tricks, this recording goes straight to police. Extortion? Don't make me laugh. I'm just a father protecting his daughter, having a friendly chat with you. Courts sympathize with victim family members, not environmental criminals. Walking out of the garage, I took a deep breath. First battle, complete victory. But this is just the beginning. I want these bastards to fall one by one in fear and despair. More importantly, I want everyone to see, when justice holds enough power, evil has nowhere to hide. After handling Robert Chun, I immediately targeted the second prey, real estate agent Michael Liu. According to intelligence, this pervert not only harassed female clients, he also operated an underground porn website selling secretly filmed videos. This scumbag is more disgusting than I imagined. Fox's technical reconnaissance discovered Michael Liu's computer stored over 300 secretly filmed videos. Victims ranged from 20 to 40 years old. Some were changing in fitting rooms. Some were client couples' intimate moments. Most infuriating, several videos clearly showed victims were unaware. This beast installed hidden cameras in properties he showed. I decided to give this scumbag an unforgettable lesson, but simple exposure wasn't enough. I wanted him to experience what it's like being consumed as a commodity. Through special channels, I contacted Black Rose, a famous internet vigilante. She specializes in punishing various online sex offenders. Another scumbag harassing women? Black Rose said disdainfully. I really want to castrate all these perverts. This time is special. He secretly filmed over 300 women. What? Black Rose was instantly enraged. This bastard. How do you want to handle him? I want him to experience being violated and having no recourse. I sent her Michael Liu's detailed information. First, I need you to help find all the victims. Notify them their privacy was violated. Provide evidence for them to defend their rights. Second, completely destroy his website and retrieve all videos, but retain evidence of his crimes. Third, and most important, I paused. I want his crime exposed during tomorrow's company meeting. Let all colleagues and clients see his true face. Cruel enough. I like it, Black Rose said excitedly. These scumbags deserve public humiliation. That night, Black Rose led her team into action. They first cracked Michael Liu's website through technical means, downloaded all videos and transaction records, then overwrote all data with virus programs, completely destroyed this evil website. More importantly, they found information on most victims. Through anonymous emails, victims learned the terrible truth. The agent they trusted had been secretly filming and selling their privacy. The victims were furious. Some immediately called police. Some contacted lawyers preparing to sue. Others directly posted on social media exposing Michael Liu's evil deeds. By the next morning, Michael Liu had become the entire real estate industry's public enemy. But the real show hadn't started yet. 10 a.m., Michael Liu's company weekly meeting. He walked into the conference room as usual, completely unaware of impending disaster. Just as the meeting began, the projector suddenly activated. The screen began playing secretly filmed videos. This is our star agent Michael Liu's masterpiece. An electronic voice echoed through speakers. He installed cameras in properties to secretly film client privacy. These videos were sold online for profit. He is a shameless voyeur and privacy violator. The conference room erupted. Colleagues watched the screen in shock. Some female colleagues turned pale. They worried they might also be victims. Company leadership was even more furious. Michael Liu, explain this immediately, the general manager roared. Michael Liu was completely stunned. His face went from red to white, then white to purple. This is fake. Someone's framing me. Fake. The electronic voice continued. Then explain why these videos are on your personal computer? Explain why your bank account received these dirty transactions? More evidence appeared on screen. Michael Liu's computer screenshots, website backend data, bank transaction records, even chat records of him selling videos. The evidence was ironclad. More terrifying for Michael Liu. The conference room live stream suddenly went public. Thousands watched his shameful exposure online. Comments flooded in. This scumbag should die. How many women has he harmed? Call the police immediately. Real estate industry's shame. Michael Liu completely collapsed. He tried to run but was stopped by security. Soon, police arrived and arrested him. I watched everything unfold from my car outside. Seeing this scumbag taken away in handcuffs, I felt a twisted satisfaction, but I knew this was just the beginning. Michael Liu would face severe legal punishment, privacy violation, illegal filming, selling obscene materials. Multiple charges combined meant at least 5 years in prison. More importantly, his life was completely ruined. In prison, sex offenders receive special treatment from other inmates. He'd experience what it's like being violated and powerless. After release, he'd be permanently blacklisted by the real estate industry. With a criminal record, finding work would be nearly impossible. His life would fall from middle-class elite to society's bottom. Most ironic of all, his every move would be monitored by victim groups. Once showing any suspicious behavior, he'd immediately face online manhunts. The voyeur became the permanently surveilled. This is information age's terrifying aspect. Once your evil is exposed, you'll be marked for life. The next morning, I received Black Rose's message. Mission complete. 287 victims found. Most have called police or sued. This scumbag is totally finished. I wired her payment with an extra thank you. You did great. Those victims needed this justice. Fighting scumbags is my hobby. Black Rose replied. If you have similar cases, feel free to contact me. Men who disrespect women deserve to die. I smiled. In this war, I wasn't fighting alone. There were many righteous people willing to stand up to evil. 2 down, 2 to go. Professor James Zhou, Community College Vice Professor. Surface accolades: excellent teacher, academic leader, student mentor. Reality: a demon using power to sexually assault female students long-term. This hypocrite made me even angrier, because he represents the intellectual class's most shameful betrayal. Society entrusts teachers with educating the next generation, grants them authority and respect. But he used this trust to commit the most heinous acts. Through investigation, I discovered Professor Zhou's criminal pattern. He specifically targets female students from poor families. These girls desperately need grades and recommendations for futures. He exploits this to threaten and entice. If you want to pass, come to my office after class. Want a recommendation letter? Show some sincerity. Don't satisfy me? Fail and repeat the year. Under such threats, many girls succumbed. But they dared not report it, because Professor Zhou held their academic fate. One report could ruin their entire future. I decided to completely destroy this academic scumbag, but I needed inside help. Through connections, I contacted Lucy, a girl who'd been victimized but graduated. She now worked at a tech company, seeming to have moved on. But when I mentioned Professor Zhou's name, her voice immediately trembled. That demon? Is he still harming other girls? Yes. And the situation is worse than before. I want to help, but I'm scared. I understand your fear, I said gently. But think about it. If no one stands up, how many more girls will suffer like you did? After long silence, Lucy finally decided. Okay, I'll help. What do you need me to do? I need you to contact other victims. Form a mutual support group. Collect evidence together, then expose him jointly. Will this work? Trust me. Collective power is unstoppable. A week later, Lucy brought shocking news. She'd found 12 victims, just from the past 3 years. These girls had kept silent from fear and shame. But when discovering they weren't alone, anger finally overcame fear. They decided to stand together against this demon. I provided them legal support and media resources. More importantly, I used technical means to extract Professor Zhou's computer and phone data. This scumbag thought he was careful, deleted all chat records and emails. But he didn't know. Nothing truly disappears in the digital world. Fox recovered everything from his devices, threatening messages to female students, obscene photos and videos, even recordings of sexual assault. This idiot actually kept trophies. With this evidence, we prepared a devastating blow. I specifically chose Teachers' Day for full exposure. That day, the college held a celebration. Professor Zhou would receive an Outstanding Educator Award. The ceremony was packed. School leaders, teachers, students all present. Professor Zhou walked proudly onto stage, ready to accept flowers and applause. Just as he began his acceptance speech, the big screen suddenly changed. Chat records of him threatening female students appeared. If you don't come to my office tonight, you'll fail. Want to graduate? Then be obedient. I have your photos. Dare to report and I'll ruin you. The audience erupted in shock. But this was just the beginning. The screen started playing recordings. Professor Zhou's disgusting voice clearly audible. The victims crying equally clear. Then, most shockingly, 12 girls walked onto stage together. We are Professor Zhou's victims. Lucy spoke first. He used grades to threaten us. forced us to satisfy his perverted desires. We've been silent too long. Today, we must expose his true face. The other girls also spoke up, recounting their victimization, showing their evidence, condemning this academic demon. The scene was completely out of control. Students shouted angrily. Teachers showed expressions of disbelief. School leaders turned pale. Professor Zhou tried to escape, but was surrounded by angry students. Hypocrite, scumbag, academic rapist, get out of the education field. Police quickly arrived and arrested Professor Zhou. With overwhelming evidence, he had no defense. But this was just the beginning of his nightmare. The education department immediately launched an investigation, revoked all his titles and qualifications. The academic committee expelled him. All his published papers were reviewed. Many were found to be plagiarized or falsified. His entire academic career was a lie. More severely, he faced not one victim's lawsuit, but a collective lawsuit from 12 victims. Sexual assault, abuse of power, academic fraud. Multiple charges meant at least 10 years imprisonment. In prison, a rapist professor? Other inmates would show him what real education means. After release, who would hire an academic fraud and rapist? His life was completely over. That night, I received thank you messages from the victims. Thank you for giving us courage to stand up. Without your help, we might have stayed silent forever. Now we can finally start new lives. Reading these messages, I felt genuinely relieved. This war wasn't just about personal revenge. It was about seeking justice for all victims. But the main culprit still awaited. David Sterling, this biggest beast. I'll save the cruelest punishment for him. I received word. This bastard sensed danger. He was preparing to flee abroad. Want to run? Dream on. The final battle is about to begin. David Sterling finally got scared. 3 henchmen fell in succession. This mastermind finally realized something was seriously wrong. This bastard began frantically transferring assets, preparing to flee abroad with his stolen money. Honey, let's travel for a while, David Sterling told Rachel. Work pressure's been high, wanna relax. Rachel was puzzled. But Sophia still has school. Sophia can board at school or come with us. A nice break for everyone. This bastard still wanted to flee with my daughter? Pure delusion. Unknown to him, his every move was under my surveillance. Through Fox's technical methods, I tracked every penny David Sterling transferred crystal clear. More importantly, I decided to completely destroy this bastard's defenses from within. I arranged to meet Rachel. In the coffee shop, I sat face to face with my former wife. First direct contact in 2 years. She appeared very nervous. Marcus, what do you want? I want to discuss our daughter. My voice was cold as ice. Do you know what David Sterling and his friends did to Sophia? What do you mean? They were just joking around. Her voice trembled. I pulled out my phone, replaying my daughter's plea video. After watching, Rachel's face turned deathly pale. Her hands shook uncontrollably. This can't be. Sterling isn't that kind of person. Rachel, open your damn eyes and see reality. My voice filled with anger. For your so-called comfortable life, you personally pushed your daughter toward hell. Are you even human? I didn't know it would be like this. I really didn't know. She began crying. Didn't know? I sneered. Your voice in the video is crystal clear. You told your daughter to serve drinks to those bastards. You smiled alongside them. That's what you call not knowing? I slammed a thick file on the table. This is complete evidence of David Sterling's illegal fundraising. He defrauded 50 clients of $3 million. As his wife, you enjoyed these ill-gotten gains. Legally, you're an accomplice. Rachel looked at the files, hands shaking violently. Additionally, as a guardian, knowing your daughter faced sexual harassment without stopping it, even actively cooperating, this constitutes child neglect. Maximum 3 years imprisonment. What do you want? She completely broke down. Very simple. I said word by word. Cooperate with me collecting David Sterling's criminal evidence. Testify against him in court. In exchange, I can plead for leniency, try for probation. What if I refuse? Then wait to go to prison with David Sterling, my gaze sharp as knives. By the way, I'll definitely get Sophia's custody back. A mother like you doesn't deserve to care for a child. Rachel sat silent for long minutes, tears flowing continuously. I agree. But you must guarantee Sterling won't hurt me. He can barely protect himself now. How could he hurt anyone? The plan progressed smoother than expected. With Rachel's cooperation, many of David Sterling's secret activities were exposed. Fox successfully hacked David Sterling's computer system through information she provided, obtaining the complete evidence chain of his illegal fundraising. False promotional materials, promising 35% annual returns, guaranteed principal and interest. Client investment records, 50 clients, total investment $2.98 million. Fund destinations, mostly transferred overseas, some used for personal extravagance. This is a standard Ponzi scheme. I didn't immediately call police. Instead had K anonymously leak partial evidence to several largest investor clients. These people exploded upon discovering the fraud. David Sterling, you fraudster. Return my hard-earned money. Our family's entire savings were stolen by you. Call the police immediately to arrest this con man. Clients frantically demanded redemption. David Sterling's capital chain instantly broke. Worse, some clients reported directly to police accusing David Sterling of fraud. Economic crime investigation departments immediately intervened, freezing all David Sterling's accounts. David Sterling only then discovered even his overseas transferred funds were frozen. Turns out, I'd already reported his overseas accounts to relevant departments through international cooperation channels. This bastard completely panicked. He wanted to contact his 3 henchmen for help, only to discover they were all beyond saving themselves. Robert Chun in detention awaiting sentencing. Michael Liu sued for sexual harassment, reputation destroyed. Professor Zhou arrested, facing heavy sentencing. Nobody could save him. The last domino was about to fall. This mastermind's doomsday had arrived. David Sterling's downfall came faster than I imagined. When police grasped the complete evidence chain, they immediately criminally detained him. This bastard couldn't run even if he wanted to. Simultaneously, I applied to the court for custody modification, demanding custody rights from Rachel. On trial day, I'll let the whole world know these bastards' evil deeds. In court, I submitted all legal evidence. David Sterling's complete illegal fundraising evidence chain, video evidence of him and friends sexually harassing my daughter, iron proof of Rachel failing guardian protection duties. Most importantly, 14-year-old Sophia bravely stood in the witness box. Judge, my dad works desperately overseas just to give me a better life. My daughter's voice was firm and strong. But David Sterling and his friends thought they could casually bully me, thought I had no protection. They were wrong. My dad would never abandon me. Hearing my daughter's words, I nearly cried. This is my daughter. Brave, strong, never bowing to evil. Rachel wept bitterly in court, admitting her crimes, expressing willingness to cooperate testifying against David Sterling. David Sterling still tried to argue, but facing ironclad evidence, everything was futile. 1 month later, the court pronounced judgment. David Sterling, guilty of illegal public fundraising and child molestation. Multiple counts combined. Sentenced to 8 years imprisonment and fined $500,000. Robert Chun, guilty of environmental pollution and wage non-payment. Sentenced to 3 years imprisonment and fined $100,000. Michael Liu, guilty of forced molestation and privacy violation. Sentenced to 4 years imprisonment. Professor James Zhou, guilty of rape, bribery, and academic fraud. Sentenced to 7 years imprisonment and fined $200,000. Rachel, for cooperating with investigation and good attitude. Sentenced to 1 year imprisonment, 2 years probation. Sophia's custody officially transferred to me. Outside the courthouse, I held my daughter tightly, eyes tearful. Dad, can they really never hurt me again? Never again. And Dad will always protect you. But I knew legal punishment wasn't enough. I had one final move to make David Sterling's life worse than death. 3 months after David Sterling's imprisonment, I arranged a visit through lawyers. In the prison meeting room, I sat opposite this bastard through thick glass. 3 months of prison life had left him much more haggard, his eyes full of resentment and unwillingness. Marcus, are you satisfied? He gritted his teeth. Destroying all of us? Are you happy? Destroying you? I sneered. You chose this path yourselves. I just made you take responsibility for your evil. You madman. Was all this worth it for one child? That's my daughter. My eyes turned murderous. Touch my daughter. Be ready for all consequences. David Sterling fell silent. What do you really want? I came to tell you something. I pulled out an encrypted USB drive. This contains complete records of all your crimes, including evidence not disclosed in court. What do you mean? This USB drive is in custody of an international trust institution. If my daughter or I face any retaliation, this evidence goes public worldwide. Let the whole world know your evil deeds. David Sterling's face turned even uglier. You think I can do anything from here? Prisons have connections to communication methods. I just want you to understand. This ends here. Any follow-up actions, consequences will be 100 times worse. I stood to leave, then turned back for the final blow. By the way, all your defrauded clients know who caused their losses. Outside, you're completely ruined. After 8 years, nobody will trust you. Also, Rachel now completely sides with me, fully cooperating in raising our daughter. Your image in her heart is completely shattered. Most importantly, I've established a family protection organization, specifically helping child victims like my daughter. Every child saved, I tell them who committed similar evil. Your name will forever be linked with scumbag. David Sterling completely collapsed, crying on the table. I didn't look back, striding out of the meeting room. 2 years later, today, my daughter and I settled in a seaside town, living a peaceful, happy life. I quit high-intensity consulting work, founded Guardian Angel Family Protection Center, specifically helping children suffering domestic violence and sexual assault. Small organization, just me with part-time support from Kay and Fox. In 2 years, we successfully helped 31 families, rescued 42 victimized children. Every rescue call reminds me of initial anger and despair. That paternal instinct drives me to fight, desperately protecting every helpless child. Sophia is now 16, excellent grades, cheerful personality. She actively participates in charity work. Even became her school's anti-bullying volunteer team leader. Dad, another little sister called for help today, Sophia said excitedly after school. Her situation is similar to mine back then. Tell me the details. After hearing my daughter's description, my eyes turned dangerous again. Another stepfather, another group of friends, another mother choosing to look away. This will never end. But we'll never stop fighting. We must save her, Sophia said firmly. Of course, no child should suffer such pain. That night, I drove to that city. On the road, I remembered that angry night 2 years ago. Then I was just a money-focused father, thinking giving money meant fulfilling responsibility. Now I understand. A father's responsibility is being ready to fight the whole world for his child. My daughter's suffering, though painful, helped me find life's true meaning. This world has too many children needing protection. They need someone telling those villains, children aren't objects for your bestial desires. They have protection. Phone rang, another rescue call. Uncle, save me. A young voice cried through the phone. Don't be afraid. Uncle's coming right away. Remember, villains can be arrogant temporarily, but justice is never absent. Outside the car window, night was deep. But my gaze remained firm as iron. Behind every harmed child lurk demons thinking they can do anything. They don't know some people in this world will spare nothing to protect children. I'm one of them, definitely not the last. The battle never ends. But evil can never win. 2 years later, looking back on this entire war, I find its significance far exceeds personal revenge. This war exposed 3 cruel truths deliberately hidden by modern society. Truth 1. We live in an era of legalized exploitation. David Sterling's group aren't traditional criminals. They're perfect exploiters of modern social system loopholes. Illegal fundraising, they package it as financial products. Sexual harassment, they beautify it as elder care. Power rent-seeking, they call it network resources. Environmental crimes, they explain as development necessity. See? Modern society's most terrifying aspect isn't blatant crime. It's rationalized, packaged, beautified evil. When law can't keep pace with social development. When regulatory systems have gaps. When moral standards are corroded by money. Evil gains vast space to operate. Truth 2. Victims often become next-round perpetrators. Rachel's story is the most typical example. She was once a hurt woman too. Discriminated against during divorce, under enormous economic pressure, forced to seek support for survival. But when she gained relatively safe status, she immediately chose sacrificing someone weaker, her daughter, to maintain her interests. This is modern society's darkest cycle. Every oppressed person seeks weaker targets to oppress. When men oppress women, women oppress children. When adults oppress minors, older children bully younger ones. When powerful exploit powerless, powerless hurt the more powerless. So we see not simple good versus evil, but a massive exploitation chain. Everyone is both victim and perpetrator. Truth 3. Justice never comes automatically. Only the strong can create it. This truth most subverts mainstream perception. We're taught from childhood to believe good begets good. Evil begets evil. To believe justice may be late but never absent. But this war taught me, justice isn't natural law but human result. Without sufficient resources and ability, without professional skills and connections, without determination to spare nothing, would David Sterling's group face any punishment? Answer: no. They'd continue harming my daughter, continue finding new victims, continue doing as they please under institutional protection. So the real truth is, this world never runs on morality but on strength. Good people without strength can only be bullied. Evil people with strength can escape sanctions. I proved through this war a reality everyone avoids. In this dog-eat-dog world, the only way to protect justice is making justice's side stronger. Now my daughter and I live peacefully in a seaside town. I founded Guardian Angel Family Protection Center. Rescued 42 victimized children in 2 years. But I want to tell all parents a deeper truth. We're rescuing not just children. We're changing society's entire game rules. Every successful rescue signals to villains. Victims are no longer silent lambs. Every public sanction educates potential abusers. Crime has consequences. Every victorious revenge redefines society's power balance. This is my war's true meaning. Not for revenge but to rebuild order. Sophia is now 16, excellent grades, cheerful personality. But more importantly, she learned a truth more important than any knowledge. In this complex world, kindness must combine with strength. Justice must connect with action. Dad, another little sister called for help today. Sophia told me after school. Her experience is similar to mine back then. Tell me the details. After hearing my daughter's description, my eyes turned dangerous again. Another stepfather, another group of friends. Another mother choosing blindness. Same script, different actors. What does this mean? We face not individual bad people, but systematic evil. We must save her, Sophia said firmly. Of course, but this time will be more thorough. I looked at my daughter seriously. We'll not only save this child, we'll let everyone know the terrible price of harming children. That night, I drove to that city. On the road, I remembered that angry night 2 years ago. Then I thought this was just personal vendetta. Now I understand it's a prolonged war for social justice. Our enemies aren't just several scumbags, but the entire institutional environment protecting them. We must change not just individual case outcomes, but society's entire attitude toward the weak. Phone rang, another rescue call. "Uncle, save me." Young crying came through the phone. "Don't be afraid. Uncle's coming right away. Remember, this world indeed has villains, but also has people willing to fight for justice." Outside the car window, night was deep, but my gaze was firmer than 2 years ago, because I now understand modern society's core laws. Power comes from information control. Justice needs strength support. Change needs actions drive. Behind every harmed child lurk demons thinking they can do anything. But they don't know some people in this world have learned to defeat them using their own methods. War never ends because humanity's evil never disappears. But evil can never achieve final victory, because some people will always spare nothing protecting the innocent. I'm one of them, definitely not the last. Ultimate revelation for all parents. After reading this story, remember 3 subversive truths. Subversive recognition 1. Good and evil aren't naturally opposed but can transform into each other. Don't simply divide people into good and bad. Under specific environments and pressure, good people might do evil, bad people might change. The key is changing the institutional environment producing evil. Subversive recognition 2. Protection isn't passive defense but active offense. Don't wait until children are hurt to think of protection. True protection is actively grasping initiative, actively creating safe environments, actively deterring potential threats. Subversive recognition 3. Justice isn't moral persuasion but strength contest. Don't expect morality to reform villains. Don't expect law to automatically protect you. At critical moments, only your own strength is the most reliable guarantee. Final golden words. All parents, please remember. In this complex world, we can be imperfect, not wealthy, unsuccessful. But one thing we must achieve: having strength to protect children, having courage to contest villains, having determination to change unfair reality. Because we're not just parents. We're guardians of this world's justice forces. Remember, nobody can harm our children. Absolutely nobody. If anyone dares try, we'll make them understand what modern society's game rules mean, what information age's dimensional reduction strikes mean, what united counterattacks of justice forces mean. Villains can temporarily succeed, but justice's counterattack will make them pay tenfold. This isn't a threat, it's a promise. This isn't an isolated case, it's a trend, because more and more parents are awakening.
That's the end of today's story. For more captivating tales, hit subscribe and never miss an episode.